GitHub Copilot works with many languages, including such a general purpose language as Python. But as a Python developer, what exactly can you build with the help of the Copilot? Turns out there are a bunch of things: web applications, mathematical models, even games, and you can also do data science, data analysis, and even machine learning. And that's not the whole list. Let's take a look at each of them one by one and use the Copilot for it. One thing I would like to ask you in return though is simply considering subscribing if you enjoy watching my channel, and give this video a like so that YouTube shows it to a broader audience, including the rest of our developer community. And now let's get started. First, we're gonna build a Django web application. Why Django? Well, because it's the most famous Python framework. Let's see how GitHub Copilot helps us with creating a couple routes and returning data to the client. The very first prerequisite for this video is that we have Python installed. If we do have Python installed, then we need to make sure that we have Django installed by writing pip install Django with a capital D. But if we also have Django, then we can simply verify by writing python -m Django -- version to see what version we have. As you can see, my version is 4.0.4. And this means we have access to the Django CLI. So we're gonna write Django -admin start project, and let's call our project web Copilot. As you can see, a new folder popped up on the left with a manage.py. Manage.py is kind of a main file that has the main function, obviously, to scaffold the rest of your apps inside the project. So we're gonna go inside the web Copilot and run python manage.py start app, and let's call our app Pulse. Pulse is the official example in the Django documentation, so we're gonna simply follow the documentation as it is. Now we see that we have a second folder called Pulse with some files inside, but it's exactly on the same level as the web Copilot and the files inside that folder, so it might be somehow counterintuitive for beginners, but please bear with me. Now we're gonna run python manage.py again and run server so that our server boots up, and we're gonna see some output in the browser if we follow this link. As you see, now we have a small website with a boilerplate Django text, how to install and so on. So let's go back to the code. And now in the code, we're gonna extend our app with a couple more controllers. So first of all, I wanna tell you how GitHub Copilot actually works. So it already generates new code as soon as you go into a new line, as I did now. As you can see, this is grayed out, but as soon as I press tab, it's gonna accept this option. Or you can alternatively also write a comment, like some comment, and then press enter, and it's gonna generate a code underneath. For now, we have this Django HTTP import, so I press tab and it accepts this option. Now let's define some controllers. For that, we're gonna write a comment, define the indexed view, let's say, and return the response, or rather return a message. Let's say this is the main page of the Pulse app. And now, as I said, I'm going to press enter. And we already have an option. I'm going to press tab, then again tab. And it literally put the text that we indicated above into the HTTP response. How cool is that? Let's define a couple more routes. Let's say define the about. Wow, it already generated the whole sentence for us. It kind of copied the style from above, and it's obviously going to copy the code, and it did. Now let's define our third controller. Let's do it a bit differently. Define the, not contacts, no. Let's say define the careers view and return a message that there are no open positions at, wow, it even auto-completed my comment. Really cool at this time. Yes, careers, and yeah. It put the message that we wanted into the HTTP response. Now, in order to use these controllers, we need to define the routes. For some reason, Django does not automatically create this urls.py, So we're going to do it ourselves. And in this file, we're going to import from Django.urls, and it auto-completed again. It's much faster with the Copilot, as you can see. And we also need to import the controllers that we defined before. For that, that's exactly that we need. And Copilot does it automatically. That's just unbelievably cool. Now let's define the routes. And again, it auto-completed what I wanted to write. Yeah, let's create this array, and it again auto-completes it. I'm not even writing anything at this point. I'm simply pressing enter and tab. Yeah, we have careers. And now, okay, we don't have contacts, but it for some reason generated it. As you can see, we only have 3 routes. So let's close the array and save the file. Okay, now we're gonna go to the routes of the actual project and import the Pulse app. For this, we're gonna press enter and simply import the routes that we defined before. And of course, import include. Now press enter. Well, it kind of used the right syntax, although it included something else. Well, now that's the right thing. So I'm simply gonna remove the hash symbol and hope that it accepts it. That's exactly what we need. Pulse/include pulse.urls. Now let it recompile and go to the website and see what we have. So the app that we had already does not work, I mean the main page, but if we write /pulse, we should see something. So yeah, that's the main page of the Pulse app because it's the index. What about /about? This is the about page as we indicated before. And now let's switch to /careers, and there are no open positions at the same time. I'm pretty sure you noticed that Copilot literally 2x'd our coding speed, and it was already guessing everything that we wanted to write beforehand. I'm simply surprised by how smart Copilot is in that it doesn't simply do what you write in the comment, but it also fills your comments that you are writing while you type on the keyboard. So that's very cool. Another cool thing that I noticed is that all the code that it generates is so elegant, and it simply follows the coding style that we have. So no extra spaces, no extra symbols that we don't use in the project. It simply copies this coding style from your project that you already have, and is simply amazing. I cannot describe how cool it is. This is going to be a 4-episode video series, so stay tuned for the next episode, where we're going to use Copilot to solve problems with NumPy. So make sure you subscribe, and see you in the next video.